Good Sunday evening, South Carolina weather watchers. I'm your meteorologist, Jesse Peterson. Let's go in and talk about the weather for your Thursday evening, Sunday evening, going into your future. I don't know why Thursday is on my mind, but it is. But we're here for Sunday evening's forecast update because we are done with the weekend for some of us. We're done with the weekend. Tomorrow, obviously, being MLK Day, 3-day weekend. But we're going to go on and talk about the weather for tonight. But before we go on and do that, if you have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Right now, we around have a good 5 people that have tuned in so far and only 2 likes so far. So if you're a part of that 3 that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. Also hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Share it also with your friends, family members, acquaintances, people that you don't even talk to. And we are right now trying to get to 700 subscribers. We're at 661. Right now we're around 39 away from that main goal of 700, and we are 14 away from that 3/4 of the way goal, 675. So we're getting closer. We just got to keep on sharing it, keep on getting it out to people, and we will make it. What are we going to talk about tonight? Well, instead of me going on and saying it while you have the "We'll Be Right Back" screen, we have a new screen to show, and it's the "What's on Tap" or "What is on Tap" screen. Pretty much just highlighting what we're going to talk about, except for, obviously we'll talk about the weather for tonight, tomorrow, long-term future, short-term future, currently, all that stuff. We always will talk about that. But what is on tap? Patchy black ice risk as we go into tonight into Monday morning. We also will talk about very cold temperatures as we go into early next week. Dry and quiet conditions will dominate as we go into midweek and the potential for some more snow next weekend. So those are going to be the main things that we're going to talk about. Also, it is Sunday, so that does mean that we will talk about the week forecast for the week of Sunday, January the 18th, going into Saturday, January the 24th. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight. So we're going to start off with current first. We're going to start off with our current weather. And as we currently speak, there is nothing. All of that convection that we had over throughout like the state from this morning going to this afternoon, gone, no longer inside the area anymore. And so now it's just nice and dry conditions. We have a special weather statement going on over here inside of the PD and the Grand Strand areas. Why? Well, it's because of patchy black ice. If you have no idea what black ice is, it is pretty much just ice that you cannot see on the roadways. And so if you are driving, make sure that you're watching. And so how does black ice form? Pretty much how it forms is when it rains, roads are moist, bridges, overpasses, all those areas are moist. And when it freezes overnight, because we will have freezing temperatures tonight, that will cause the moisture on the roadways to freeze up, and it will cause just some ice on the roadways, like a little ice glaze. So if you are out driving tonight or tomorrow morning, early tomorrow morning, going to work, doing anything like that, going runs errands for tomorrow, you're going to be busy all tomorrow, just make sure that you're aware of that, especially when it is freezing outside, because black ice can form, bridges, overpasses, areas that, roads that aren't really used as frequently, as well as shaded areas. But what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S.? Well, right now it looks like that we do in fact have some rainfall and some snowfall, but snowfall going on over here inside of Maine, going on up here, New York, pretty much a lot of the New England area receiving snowfall. Snowfall also going on over here inside the Great Lakes region, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, getting in on some snowfall. We also do have some snowfall in Montana, Wyoming, Colorado getting in on some rainfall, and maybe some rainfall going on over here in Kansas. Everybody else, though, looking nice and dry. Florida looking dry. Georgia, all the way over here into Texas, all the way throughout the west. Nice and dry right now as we speak. Cloud cover for right now seems like that we are right now just mostly clear. We do have some cloud cover over there inside the PD area, but it is actually pretty low to the ground. Maybe not fog, but it is definitely some cloud cover over there, and so we will be watching to see what happens there, but, nothing too crazy right now. In fact, that cloud cover will probably be moving off as we go into tonight. And speaking of moving off, let's go ahead and look at our future for our cloud cover. If we go ahead and push this forward, you can see as we go all the way from 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 a.m., That cloud cover now has moved its way off, and as we get more into the late morning going into the afternoon, into tomorrow, looks like cloud cover will stay again relatively away from us until we get to around the evening, 5, 6 o'clock, all the way to 7 o'clock p.m. tomorrow evening. We do have some isolated clouds going on throughout the state, rather it be from the upstate, rather it be over there inside of the Midland areas, but that's around 10 to 11 to 12 a.m. We continue this forward all the way through to 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m., and then we start to see some more cloud cover pop up Tuesday morning here inside like the low country, the Midlands, the PD, especially that Grand Strand area as well. And that goes all the way to around 7 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday, as you can see right here. Now, for current temperatures right now, for the majority of us, especially as you get further up inside of the upstate, it's cool. It is cool. Like, for example, we have like mid 30s for a good amount of the low country, high 30s near the coastal areas, like down there near Hilton Head Island. Go over here towards the PD, the Grand Strand. Mid 30s going up into even the low 40s near the coast, Myrtle Beach, North Myrtle Beach. Moving over to the Midlands, 35, like over here in Columbia, Newbury. And so we just stay in that mid 30s area. Then as you move up towards the upstate, nobody's below freezing yet, but a lot of 33. So we're getting close to below freezing, all the way from Gaffney to Spartanburg to Greenville to Clemson. And then maybe even 34s from like Anderson, York, Rock Hill, Union, Greenwood. And a new thing that we actually have added as well, thank you to Mr. Chris for this, is air quality. So this is the air quality map, nothing right now in terms of air quality, in terms of like air quality alerts, so we are good for now. Now let's go and look at our low temperatures for tonight. Right now we have around 25s for a good amount of the area, 26 as well, so it's going to be pretty much 20s for all of us tonight for our low temperatures, except for like coastal areas, 31 in Myrtle Beach, 30 in Charleston, 33 Hilton Head Island, and so everybody will be below freezing tonight. 26 like in Greenville, 26 in Newbury, 28 Columbia, 26 Rock Hill, 25 Kingstree, 26 in Moncks Corner, 30 in Charleston, 28 Georgetown, 31 in Myrtle Beach, and so everybody will need to be making sure that your freeze plans are in place. We've been talking about freezing so much, especially when it comes to pipes, plants, pets as well. Make sure pets are brought inside as well. And if we go and look at the high temperatures for tomorrow, again, not that high either. 40s for a good amount of us. 49, Greenville, 48 in Spartanburg, 48, Anderson, Greenwood, Newbury, 50 in Columbia, 49, Aiken, Barnwell, Orangeburg, Sumter, Florence, 52 in Charleston, 50 in Walterboro, 51 in Georgetown, 50 Myrtle Beach, and 52 in Hilton Head Island. And even if we go into our rainfall as well, seems like for right now, rainfall is not expected as we go throughout the next 48 hours or so. Probably 48 hours, but 24 hours, So no rainfall is expected as we move throughout the next 24 hours or so. As we go on and check out the crazy score now, make sure that you pay attention to the categories because we're at a 38 for tonight. We're at a 38, southern moderate category. Why? Well, number one, I will say, it's really just because of the dangerously low actual temperatures. Lows in the low to mid 20s across the majority of the inland areas and the upstate locations. Many valleys, sheltered spots, 20 to 22 degrees Fahrenheit tonight. 8 to 12 plus hours of below freezing is very significant for us, especially during this time of year, and real frostbite / hypothermia risk exist with prolonged outdoor time, even with calm winds. That, and then also the black ice, the refreeze hazard, definitely is real, definitely is meaningful. So especially if you're in those low spots where there's not too much traffic, because obviously if you don't have a lot of traffic on roads, those tires won't be constantly, warming up a little bit, so it's going to have no action to it. Shaded areas, bridges, overpass, all of those are still wet when the temperatures go down. And then with those calm winds and that rapid radiational cooling, that's textbook. That's a textbook setup for patchy but very dangerous black ice. And so, And also, there's going to be no wind chill buffer. Winds become calm, and so there's going to be pretty much wind chills are going to be non-existent. But but since there is no wind, those actual temperatures will drop a lot more because radiational cooling cannot happen with high winds. SPC outlook for tonight, though, thunderstorms are not expected tonight, tomorrow, or on Tuesday. So we are good in terms of thunderstorm activity. Excessive rainfall, not expected at this time. We have no fire weather or anything like that. All of that is good for now. So let's go in and look at the models first. We're going to start off here at 9 o'clock p.m., and I am going to be honest, I don't really see anything here too concerning. We go all the way through tomorrow morning here, 7 o'clock in the morning, to 12 o'clock p.m. Here's noon tomorrow, nice and dry, going all the way through the afternoon, the evening hours, all the way to 12 o'clock in the morning, midnight on Tuesday. And then you can see a little, well, you can't see it yet, but if I can go in and do this, you can see that high pressure over there on the left side, over there in Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas. That is what's causing us to have this great weather. In fact, we're going to be dry for this next 48-hour period. So, while they're over there, maybe receiving some snowfall up here in Indiana, maybe some rainfall over here in Texas. Over here where we are in the deep south, southeast, nice and dry as we go all the way until 7 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. So we're good in terms of, rainfall. But if we want to look at temperatures for tonight, just like another thing I was talking about for that black ice threat, you can see how these temperatures go down and the entire state is covered with 30s. Now, one thing that I will say here, is that the ARRR and the actual National Weather Service are a bit off from one another. And when I say they're off, pretty much all I mean is that ARRR is sitting here saying that we're going to have low temperatures tonight only for the 30s for a good majority of us. But like I said, if we go back to the low temperatures here, which, let me make sure this is the right day. It should be the right day. Yeah, this is Sunday night right here. You can see these low temperatures are a lot lower. So a bit of a disagreement there from the models and from the National Weather Service. But then we go back now, going into our long-term future. Now, long-term future here, but I did show you those freezing temperatures and how that black ice could potentially happen. We continue this forward all the way through the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. Then as we get to around like the 23rd, going into like the afternoon, the evening time frame, you start to see some rainfall start to go on up there inside of the upstate. You even start to see a bit of snowfall. You start to see a little bit of snowfall like going on up there in the mountains of North Carolina, Tennessee, but nothing quite for us. If you go on and bring this forward even more all the way throughout the 24th, now before I even say anything, this is 138 hours out. 138 hours out. That is indeed that's indeed actually this Saturday. So we still have a long way to go. So please, 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 do not look at this and say we're gonna get snow, we're gonna get freezing rain, we're gonna get sleet. Nope, we are still way too far out. But I have been seeing the models, and they are a lot more consistent. Right here, the 24th here, going into 1 p.m. on the 24th, and you start to see some snowfall. You see some freezing rain like in the low country. You see some snowfall come in right after it. It kind of like goes like a rainfall, then freezing rain, then sleet, then snowfall-esque type event that you would see there throughout the state. And so as you go on and just push that forward even more throughout the 26th, going on throughout the 27th, dry conditions remain. We have another little bit of a cold front trying to move its way through again on the 28th. Another cold front again on the 31st, going into February the 1st. And so it's just cold front after cold front after cold front still. But I want to go and look at this system right here. And so the first thing that I'm looking at right now is I'm looking at this, and this is still almost around 7-ish days out from now. So we can't really say too much about this. In fact, that is, a bit too far in terms of like even like favorable patterns. Like we got to see if it's even going to remain consistent at first. But one thing I am looking at, if we look at these temperatures, though, temperatures are going to crash. I mean, as early as like 1 p.m., I mean, we're all going to be in the 30s potentially on the 24th already, 7 p.m. And then it seems like this would be like a snow, like a night snow event, not really during the daytime. If this is to occur, as modeled, but like I said, way too far out. We go even further into the future, all the way through to around 7 a.m. ish on January the 25th, and all of us in the 20s for the most part. And then it still stays below freezing. In fact, it stays so far below freezing that we could potentially be in single digits. Yes, you did hear that correctly. Single digits on the 26th. But we'll just keep an eye on that. Just keep an eye on that. Maybe low 20s, teens near the coast. Stuff that we're used to at this point. That was a joke, but this could potentially be a record-breaking frigid cold if we were to have this. But like I said, 180 hours out, things will change. I doubt that it's going to be exactly like this, and that it's probably going to go down like this. But I still do think if it's modeled, it's possible. If it is modeled, it is possible. We're also going to have to look at, the actual height as well. What do I mean by the height? I just pretty much if I can find it, that's the temperature anomalies real quick. That's not what I want either. Might have to go ahead and move on to here. Hold on, let me go in and find it real quick. I gotta go over here, gotta switch over to here real quick. Go back a little bit. This is what I'm looking for. Go over to the GFS. There we go. Go back down to the southeast. Or maybe it just might have to be just the eastern US, but that's fine. But right here, like I'm saying, you have this low pressure that's going on all the way up there. And it's going to obviously stretch its way down. You can see as it kind of tries to stretch its way down. Another way how you could look at this as well, if you was to go on and look at the actual geopotential height as well. You have the low pressure up there, and it kind of, you don't really see too much of anything with this system in terms of like snowfall. Like you would think that the low pressure would be all the way down there, near toward like the bottom, almost. But you don't really see too much of that at all. In fact, it just looks like that there's really no low pressure really associated with it. It's almost just like not like the remnants of a system. I mean, obviously it was impacted by a low pressure, but almost like the low pressure maybe like a bit further south than that. But I mean, it's not showing it on this map right now, but for right now, for what it looks like, not really too much of a system associated with it. Just might just be some leftover moisture behind it. That's what's causing the snowfall and this rainfall rates right here, from freezing rain to sleet as well. So that would be going into next weekend, like I said. And so I'm not going to get too far into it. I'm not going to get too much further into it. Just because, like I said, too far out, things will change. And we're just going to have to continue to wait and see what happens. And so I do want to go on and talk about this week, though. We talked about the snow going into next weekend, potentially. Let's go on and talk about the week. So we're going to start off with our temperature anomalies first. And one of the things that you might also want to see here is the fact that there is indeed going to be cooler. Yes, cooler than average temperatures as we go into this week. So that is something that you do want to see. And if you do want snow. And even if we go into our 7-day total precipitation analysis or anomalies, it looks like for the most part dry conditions. So not something you want to see if you wanted to see snow, but those below average temperatures shows that the temperatures might be set up this time. You remember why we didn't get snow going into yesterday, last night going to this morning, was because it was too warm. The temperatures might be there this time. And so we just got to see if the precipitation is there. And so I think the main reason why it's below average this week is mainly because there's not going to be too much rainfall at all for the majority of this week. We go past today, going into tomorrow, we don't see a rainfall potentially until like the 23rd, which is Friday. So we have a good bit of dryness, and so that's what's going to cause us to have those below average precipitation rates. And so we don't see precipitation until Friday going into Saturday, which is when that cold air moves its way through. And so if we also go on and check out right now, check out the actual, if I can go in and find it, there we go. If we go into the actual total precipitation throughout the next 7 days or so, and we move on over here, you can see for the most part, as we move throughout the next 7 days, some of this could potentially be snowfall as well, because it is precipitation. It's not just rainfall, not just snowfall, not just, ice and sleet. It's all, like, all the above. It's all of it. So, you have around, like, maybe like a half an inch of precipitation over there in the Midlands, 4/10. Over there inside of, like, the Eastern Midlands PD, half an inch near the coastal areas in the Grand Strand, maybe 3/10 near Charleston, half an inch up there inside of the upstate, maybe even a bit more inside the bluer areas. The blue areas, that's around probably around half an inch to an inch or so. And so all of this is going to have to be perfectly timed if you do want snow. And so, unfortunately, if you don't want snow, you better be hoping that this does not turn out the way how it's looking right now. Because if it does decide it wants to continue to drop like this, and we go in and look at the total snowfall rates, I mean, that's a good amount of snowfall right there. That's a good amount of snowfall. Even if we go back into the southeast so we can see even clearer, that is a good little bit right there. 3 inches, maybe even up to 5 plus, probably getting up to maybe an isolated 7. Now, not the craziest, but for this time of year, and for South Carolina standards, that'd be pretty good to have. That would be pretty good. But all of this is preliminary in the long term. But I do want to talk about the temperatures as well, though, because we haven't been neglecting the temperatures a little bit. If we start off this week below average, and that will pretty much continue until we get to around maybe the 22nd-ish. We see some warm air coming through, but then another cold front will push its way through. That could potentially be our little snowmaker there, all the way into the 24th, the 25th, and we see way lower average temperatures. I mean, we're seeing possibly 30 degrees below average in some parts, like of the coastal North Carolina area. You seeing temperatures 25 degrees below average in parts of South Carolina as well. And so this will be, like I said, this could potentially be record breaking in terms for some of these temperatures, especially if I click on it and I see the actual temperature is 16, and you saw some isolated areas potentially down near 8. So just something to look for. Even go in and look at those actual shaded temperatures as well, which is pretty much just the actual temperatures. Remember, tonight, tomorrow night, and Tuesday night will be cold nights. Will be freezing cold nights. So make sure that you're prepared for that for these 3 nights as we go along throughout the beginning of the week. And then as we go all the way through, they will warm up. It will warm up as the week progresses, like right here, the 23rd. We have some 60s going on for a good amount of us in the low country, near the coastal areas. But like I said, it won't last long as just that cold air comes through, and then we see potentially record-breaking temperatures as we go into next week. But that is about all that I have for this week's forecast. So we're going to go on now and talk with the audience. If you want to be a part of the audience, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Let's see what the audience has to say for tonight. Starting off, Mr. Chris was here first. He says, "Good evening, everyone. Hope y'all had a great day and stayed warm." I did. Thank you so much for asking. He also says, please remember to go and hit the like button and the subscribe button. Also share with everyone that you know. It is free and it helps the channel grow. He's absolutely correct. Right now we have around a good 18 people that have tuned in, and we only have 6 likes. 6. That's it. If you are a part of that group that have not hit the like button yet, go on and do so. It's free. You can change your mind at any time. Yes, we have more people right now, more people watching, than more people that have hit the like button. So go on and hit the like button. It's free. And also, like he said, subscribe. It's also free. Maya Lewis says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you. I pray that everyone had a wonderful day. Well, thank you so much for that. Mr. Chris has started off very rainy and cleared up and got cold. It's currently 33 degrees here inside of Monk's Corner. Well, right now where I am, it's already 33, 32.5. So if it drops down another 0.1 degrees, it will be below freezing because I would round down to 32. My newer one, though, right now says that it is 32.9. So not quite below freezing. It's getting close, though. Getting close. My Aunt Lewis says today in Georgetown, a high was 47. And then Mr. Chris says, not looking forward to this coming weekend. Well, like I said, the weekend will come when the weekend comes. Obviously ain't nothing that we can really do. We just got to be prepared. Hey, you know best. You say it all the time. You can't be scared. You got to be prepared for it. My Nana says, hello, Jay. A very rainy day here in South Carolina. Thanks for all that you do. No problem at all. No problem at all. Thank you for that weather update for where you are. Maya Lewis says, we were cold all day. Didn't feel, I don't either. For me, it's going to be indoor weather. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. If you can elaborate what you mean by that. And then also, she says in Georgetown we had a lot of rain. Most of it was morning and afternoon. Mr. Chris says, exactly. Please remember to go and drip your pipes, check on the elderly, pets, and bring in plants as well. He's absolutely correct. Right now we are gonna be cold, frigid cold these next couple of nights. Make sure that all of that stuff is in place. Not looking forward to that. And then my Aunt Lewis says, nephew, my grandson, and his family are traveling to Philadelphia. How bad is the drive? They will travel I-95. It matters what time are they leaving. Well, you said are traveling, so maybe they're already on the way now. But let me know, because we do talk about the forecast for Philadelphia, so that would be a great time to go in and tell them to go in and subscribe to the channel so they can go in and get that forecast for Philadelphia, because we do 4 areas outside of South Carolina, and you might be asking, 4 locations, what are you talking about? I'm talking about San Antonio, Texas, Raleigh, North Carolina, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, as well as Duncan, Oklahoma. The reason why we talk about these areas is because we have people from these areas who tune in almost nightly, and because they tune in almost nightly, we go on and talk about them. Not only because they support, but also because their main areas aren't even being talked about, yet they still show up. So we're going to go and talk about that. We're going to go and talk about all of that. We're going to start off with San Antonio first, with low temperatures tonight around 33, high temperatures tomorrow at around 66, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 46. Precipitation, not expected at this time. You are good. And then in terms of excessive rainfall, severe weather, looks like you are good right now as well. So what about for your future? Well, if we go and look at San Antonio's future, it looks like that you are going to try to cool down a little bit. Like 66 tomorrow, 58 on Tuesday, but then you'll warm right back up Wednesday, Thursday, especially as you go into potentially Saturday, going up near 70 degrees. But we'll see how that works out. But for right now, you might just stay inside of that high 60 range-ish, except for Tuesday. For Raleigh, North Carolina, you have low temperatures tonight around 27, high temperatures tomorrow at around 44, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 22. Rain is expected tonight. Rain is actually not expected tonight. I do apologize for that. That is wrong. There we go. Fixed. Rain is not expected tonight. Same thing for tomorrow and tomorrow night as well. So you're good for rainfall. For your future, it looks like that you will actually be warming up. You will be warming up. Saturday, it says, highs near 48. So, you'll warm up a little bit as you go into like Wednesday 45, Thursday 53. But then you'll cool right back down as you go into like next week, especially since you'll have that chance of rainfall and snowfall and freezing rain, kind of like a mix of the three. Same thing with South Carolina as well as we go into next week for a lot of us. And not only with that, but also with just our temperatures being really low. So we'll continue to watch and see how that develops. If we go into Philadelphia, low temperatures tonight around 20, high temperatures tomorrow at around 35, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 16. They did just get rid of the slight chance of snow, so they can go in and take care of that. No precipitation is expected tonight, tomorrow, and tomorrow night, and it looks like for the most part that you will be kind of warming up, cooling down, warming up, cooling down, warming up, cooling down. You know, like Tuesday, high temperature of 24. Then you'll go to 35 on Wednesday. Then you'll go to 40 on Thursday. But then you'll drop right back down to 32 and 30 on Friday and Saturday. So it's really just going back and forth at this point. So I think you just should probably just have your coat on at all times at this point, because I don't think that's really going to change too much. Then as we go into Duncan, Oklahoma, you have low temperatures tonight around 27, high temperatures tomorrow at around 41, and then low temperatures tomorrow night at around 20. Precipitation not expected at this time. Severe weather, excessive rainfall not expected for any location of these four, by the way. And if we go in and look at your future, it looks like you will warm up until you cool right back down on Saturday, and then Saturday night you'll have a low temperature of 18. So not great things for you either, but like I said, you have a little bit of a warm up. 51 on Tuesday, 58 on Wednesday, 59 on Friday, and then that's when you'll start dropping down dramatically, like 39 for your high on Sunday. Now, what's going on right now throughout the entire U.S. weather news-wise? Well, right now it looks like heavy lake effect and lake-enhanced snow will persist downwind of the Great Lakes and produce some whiteout conditions that could cause difficult travel conditions. A coastal low will also produce moderate to heavy snow over parts of the southern and eastern New England area into this afternoon and tonight. Below average temperatures are expected across the eastern U.S., particularly with chilly morning temperatures. That we also will see some freezing going on from Georgia all the way down into like as far south as like Orlando, going all the way down towards Lakeland and getting close to Tampa. Not quite there, but the wind chill values could be as low as 32. So technically, when the wind is going, it could technically be below freezing for them. Black ice for a lot of us over here, like in Virginia, Delaware, North Carolina, South Carolina as well. And then for the most part, this looks like some blizzard conditions over there inside of North Dakota, potentially South Dakota, western Minnesota as well. Some dense fog going on over there in California, and that's about it. That's all I can see here. And some freezing temperatures maybe in southern Louisiana. That's the only thing that I can see, though. And so that's all that I can see right now throughout the entire U.S. I do not see anything from my Aunt Lula yet about what she was talking about, but I mean, if I just go in and look at it from this angle right here, I don't really see anything right now. And I said no precipitation is really expected for tonight going to tomorrow, so if that's what you were talking about, there you go right there. And so, I don't see anything else inside the chat. So top fans of the night for tonight, it honestly really was not that hard to really tell because there was only 3 people who chatted tonight. So there's all 3 of y'all that chatted tonight. Y'all are all the winners. Mr. Chris, my Aunt Lula, and my Nana are all 3. The top fan of the night tonight already by default, because they're the only 3. So we're gonna go on and give them a round of applause for going on and being the top fans of the night for tonight. If you want to be a part of the top fans, you can by joining us at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, as well as being a subscriber to the channel, because you cannot type in the chat if you are not a subscriber. Also, you have to be here early. If you're here early, and it can sometimes matter, but being early helps, and also being a subscriber, obviously being a subscriber helps. You have to be one, but also being active inside of the chat as well. Being active inside the chat, that helps out, especially because if you just type 1 or 2 times, except for tonight, you really just will be more higher up in the leaderboard. So we'll go on and continue that top fans trend. But for right now, like I said, it's going to be a cold night tonight. It's going to be a cold night tonight. It's going to be freezing. Make sure, like I said, bring those plants inside. Bring those pets inside. If you have to drip any sort of pipes or anything like that, because your pipes aren't wrapped or anything like that, not sustainable for below freezing temperatures, make sure that you go on and do so, because that will definitely be a huge concern that you probably should take care of. That, and then potential snow going into next week. We'll talk about all of that again tomorrow evening for your Monday evening forecast update. I'll also be here tomorrow morning as well. 662 subscribers, trying to get to 700. Let's go and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. It's free, and you can change your mind at any time. And also, if you have not hit the like button yet either, go on and do so. Share with your friends, your family members, your acquaintances, even people that you don't even talk to regularly, because it does help me out. Or even somebody that you don't even like. Just anybody would work. So everyone have a fantastic rest of your Sunday evening, and I will be back tomorrow morning with your Monday morning forecast update. Hit those 2 buttons before you leave.